right, everybody. It's gonna sound like I'm babbling through this whole video because I have so much to say and so many wonderful things to say about Toscana Spa at the Peppermill in Reno, Nevada. Peppermill Casino Spa Resort. All right, we just got back from our first official The Book of Jane spa trip, which we spent 3 nights in Reno. We visited 2 spas, the Atlantis and the Peppermill. I had 7 women with me. I cannot remember having so much fun on a trip in a really long time. The spas were spectacular. The company was spectacular. The pools were spectacular. Okay. All right, but this is the official Robe review of Toscana Spa because I have reviewed the Atlantis before. I will link 2 videos that I've done on that spa below. All right. Okay, here we go. What wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Wonderful. There was only one little piece of that big, beautiful spa that I would have changed, and they're kind of aware of it, and they didn't even ask me in the first place, so there you go. All right, so we took off for the Peppermill, which was about 3/4 of a mile from where we were staying. We pull up, it is a huge casino and resort in Reno, and I have heard wonderful things about the spa. The website was delightful to work through, but it actually says on the website, and you guys know that I like this, please call to make your appointment. Happy. That's the first thing that made me happy. So I'm chatting away with the lady on the phone and she's typing away, and we decide that I'm gonna have the 50-minute massage and the 50-minute facial. $210 for those 2 services. I said, perfect. So we headed in. First of all, the artwork in this spa is stunning. I did hear from one of my ladies that it was a private collection. She was reading the information about it. I was just too flabbergasted with everything that was going on there. So we think it's from a private collection, and it's gorgeous. Everything is Italian inspired. Everything's sort of this cream white, luxurious color. We walk in, we check in, there's a huge desk where you check in. Everything was great there. They take us to the spa attendant. She takes us to the lockers. The locks on the spa in the locker room are like super easy to use, like no trouble there. Hands us our robes, hands us our shoes, shows us around. So we proceed to get our suits on and get our robes on, and off we go. So everybody kind of scattered because everybody was kind of heading in a different way and everybody had different appointment times. So my appointment started at 11. So we got there about 10. I got checked in. They have a ladies' side and a men's side with a hot tub that was glorious, a cooling dip that was glorious, 2 showers that had all the shower heads on them. They had a towel warmer with warm towels in it next to those 2 showers. You know, it looked like a little refrigerator. And I was like, oh, okay, I haven't seen that before. The amenities were spectacular. They had juice and water and coffee and tea and snacks for you, like nuts and a little granola there to eat if you needed it. They had a steam room and a dry sauna and these beautiful leather chairs that were electronic, so you could raise up your knees or lower your back. They're electronic. Okay, and just that alone right there, I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. So that is the women's side. Now you can do naked there if you want to, or swimsuit there, because that is the all ladies facility. And then you start the rest of the facilities. All right, it's on 3 floors. You got to stay with me because we got a lot to talk about. 3 floors. Okay, so one of the floors was the treatment room, so that's where I went up first. Lit very low. You take the elevator up, you walk into this beautiful room where your therapist is going to come get you. They have San Pellegrino, that size of bottle, you know. I was like, what? So I cracked that open. They had these beautiful like cookies, like looks like they're handmade cookies and date little squares for you to eat right there. They have water and juice there as well. They have coffee as well. The lights are really low. These big, beautiful leather lounges with headphones that are all electronic that you can put on and turn on the music. And I could have really just stayed. I could have just hung out in that room like for hours with the book. I'm telling you right now, I could have with my robe on. I'm perfect. Okay. Now on that same floor, they have on their website that they have a salt room. So in my brain, salt room means heat, that it's heated, because the salt in my life needs to be heated. So I walked in there and the salt was lit. There was one whole wall and beautiful benches and chairs, and that's the only thing that wasn't like perfect about this spa. But I did hear from one of my guests that her therapist said they're still working on it. So we're just gonna like, okay, we got it. But it was a pretty room, but it wasn't hot enough to admit the negative ions out of the salt, but I think they're working on it. So it's okay. So my first therapist comes to get me. Her name is Nicole, and she is my massage therapist. She is professional and courteous and says to me, okay, this is your room. I can do less pressure, more pressure. Please don't hesitate to tell me anything if you like something. She was just like, everything was perfect. Do I have any injuries? She did a verbal intake. There was no formal intake. She did a verbal intake. I said, nope, no injuries, not ticklish anywhere, no medications you should be aware of. Because I do believe that therapists need to ask you those questions before they start working on it. Is medium pressure okay? I said, let's do in between medium and deep. And she goes, no problem. So she started, and I am not chatty when I am getting work done, you guys. I don't need to have a conversation with my therapist, so I get quiet really quick. Okay. I get undressed, I hang up my robe, I get on the table. The table's nice and warm. There's a table warmer. The sheets are spectacular. They're thin, which they're thin because they dry really quick. I can tell you that right now, but they are beautiful. So she starts my work and we do face down, and probably about 30 minutes. It was a 50-minute treatment. Probably about 30 minutes in, she flips me. So I'm like, okay, flip over. And then the table, it's an electronic table. So then she starts moving me around. So she raises me up, then she brings my back up. Like I'm getting a facial, right? She brings my back up a little bit, and then she raises up my knees. So now I'm like this. And I'm like, oh. And then she puts an eye cover on me, and now I'm like, because the position of your body is like perfect, right? And I'm like, well, how's she gonna, because I'm a massage therapist. I'm like, how's she gonna do this? Because I'm trying, and now my brain's going 100 miles an hour because I'm like, well, and she starts working my head, and she's coming down my arms, and she's doing my legs, and I'm like, oh my stars, let me get rid of that hair. Oh my stars. It's just like, I've never had a massage where the therapist manipulates my body that way when I turn over. So it takes the pressure off your back. She raises up your knees. There's no bolster, which I don't like bolsters in the first place. I'm like, I'm in love. The room is beautiful. There's plenty of room in there. There's all good. The music's perfect. The temperature's perfect. I was like, oh my gosh. So she finishes up. I get my robe back on, head back into the room with the headphones, and here comes my esthetician. And there is nothing I like better, y'all, than getting work back to back done. And if I could have booked like the wrap next or something, I would have, because I would just keep going from table to table to table. All right, so Olga from Siberia comes to get me, and we have a little conversation about my skin, and she looks at my skin through the magnifying glass. She starts the steamer, and then she says, Miss Jane, I'm going to put your robe in a warmer so it'll be nice and warm for you when you come off the table. Okay. Never, ever have I had that happen either. And I'm telling you, these little bits of loveliness and goodness and great customer service at these spas make me so happy. I cannot even tell you. I was just glowing already. So she does great. She does great work on my face. I come off of that. She hands me my robe, which is nice and toasty warm. I head back into the relaxation room. Two of the girlfriends are there. We sit down and chat for a minute. They're about to go off onto their service. So then Olga says, you want to try the zero gravity chairs down in the relaxation room on the second floor. I think it was the second floor. I said, oh, okay. So I head down there, and you kind of got to find it. So they have a beautiful indoor pool that's co-ed, that's like a soaking pool with a little hot tub there as well, where you can have lunch. You can order lunch down. And so that's a co-ed place, and it was kind of full of people, and the upstairs with the ladies only wasn't. So I tended to go back upstairs. So I went to find the zero gravity chairs. And I walk in this room, and it's dark, and they have those very expensive zero gravity leather chairs in here. And this is the only time you're ever going to hear me say this, and this because I don't like screens in spas. I don't think that's the place for screens, me personally. But they had this huge screen in this room, the size of the wall, like the humongous, of shots of starry nights and moon eclipses and the desert shots out in Nevada of the moon and the stars. And I was like, I'm mesmerized. I'm like, what? And so I laid there, and I got, now they're pretty tricky. You know, you unhook the lever, and you can like flip back pretty easy, and sometimes you can't. It's a little bit to get out of them, but you know, they flip you up, and your head's lower than your feet, and your feet are up, and you're like this way, and I kind of want one in your house now. But this screen, I sat there and watched it cycle through probably 4 or 5 times, because it was like being in the desert. Do you know what I mean? And this next picture would roll in, and it was the moon in California, you know, or like of stars and the moon. And then I'm laying there thinking to myself, there's just we didn't book enough time. We did not book enough time in this spa. So I knew I still had to go exploring, and I knew I had to go take a lot of notes because you know, you got to, if you don't take notes when you're my age, you forget. So I went back upstairs, and I got in one of the chairs, one of the lounges next to the hot tub in the ladies only side, rearranged it perfectly, laid out some towels, and just started taking notes, and got myself a little snack and some coffee, and you know what I mean? I was just kind of laying there by myself because all the other girls were like scattered off to their appointments. And I just watched women come and go, and just enjoy that spa so much. And we all sort of gathered back up because we were going to head out for dinner. And all my ladies were just like, everybody's just as happy as they can be, just delightful, and their work was fabulous. And one of my girlfriends said that's the best work I'd ever had in my life. And she had the same massage therapist I had. I'm like, in your life? She said, in her life, that was the best work she's ever had. So that is pretty powerful. So we get all gathered up. They have plastic bags for your swimsuit. So if you want to put them, you know, if you're carrying your suit in there, they have all the amenities. Now, some of the amenities in the dressing room was lovely, have been taken out due to what's going on. However, all you have to do is go to the spa attendant and they just hand you anything they need. Hair dryer, whatever, you know, they're there to take care of you. It's just not laid out like it used to be when we would do spas. No, everything. They had a full hair salon there as well. I never get involved with the hair salon, but it was there. It looked like they had probably 7 or 8 chairs in there. And I heard people back there working. So in the world that we're living in now, and how this spa is still able to stay open and service clients, and at the level of service that we got there, it was just nothing. It was just nothing but glorious. The checkout was perfect. You don't pay up front. You pay when you finish. You go back to the front desk, you check out. Everything's good. So $210. I had 2 treatments for $210. And all that self-care. And I didn't even do like what I normally do in spas, where I'm doing hydrotherapy and sort of cycling through the heat and the cold, because there was just so much to do. And then when your girlfriends there, we're just chatting away in the hot tub, and it's like gloriously fun. It's gloriously fun. This spa is getting, you know, there's one little thing, but I'm not marking them off because of that salt room. Everything else was glorious. I would highly recommend spa-ing at this resort in Reno. And if you need somebody to go with you, you just call me and I will take you. I'll go with you. I'll show you around, show you all the stuff, how to do it. It was glorious, you guys. The Pepper Mill in Reno. Toscana Spa. I know sometimes I can't believe I'm doing this for a living either. Have a glorious day, everybody. I'll see you next week here on the Book of Jane. Thanks for joining me.